So Dixie, we now come to one of my favorite parts of any tutorial, and that's where we get to sit down and talk a little bit. Get to learn a little bit about your life so our viewers kind of know a little bit more about you. Because frankly, we've had a great time over this last week.
Yes.
We've made a ton of images and traveled a long way together. Everybody's living in a house, so you really definitely get to know somebody.
Yes.
So let's
blast.
It has been a blast,
Total
right?
blast.
It's
Really
been a blast.
grateful for this opportunity.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I can't wait to see all the images you made, because when we're sitting here culling them, they're looking fantastic, and I can't wait to see what happens with Pratik on the retouching, and there's some nice work in there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's have a little toast
Awesome.
to an amazing week in Brazil, right?
Absolutely.
So let's kind of back up a bit and talk about your whole life story, like how you're growing up and how you got into photography. So let's start from the beginning. Growing up as a kid, you grew up in Texas.
Yeah. So I grew up in Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
And I was in every single kind of different club. I was in band, I was in soccer, definitely a band nerd. Played the saxophone.
I know, we both did, which is totally cool.
That is
both
really
soccer
cool.
players, both saxophone players.
Both studied abroad in London.
I know, at the same school, which
That's
is amazing
crazy.
that we found that out.
Yeah.
All right, so you grew up starting soccer. Let's go back to that, because that's actually a pivotal point in your life, because something happened on that soccer field with a big name change.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
So there were 4 Lindsays or 5 Lindsays on the soccer team.
Right.
And
Which, that's your real name, Lindsay.
yes, my real name's Lindsay. So it was tricky calling people on and off the field. So
Right.
my best friend Courtney ended up nicknaming me Pixie Dixie at the time.
Right. Pixie kind of fits.
Dixie is really cheesy, but Dixie ended up
Right.
sticking.
Right.
So that just, and people said that sort of suited me better. So
Yeah, Dixie makes sense.
yeah, so I just went with Dixie.
So you became Dixie Dixon
Yes.
right there on the soccer field. And it has really and truly become your name,
It has.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
It's a great name, by the way.
Thank you.
Love it. It's very cool. So did you stay in Houston the whole time, or when did you?
I did. And then I was, so I really hated marching band. So our band director was really mean, and he made me cry because
Why?
I had a really hard time marching and playing the saxophone at the same time. I could play really well. I was first chair,
Right.
but you add marching to the equation, and I was just running into tubas and it was a really bad
I'm trying to
thing.
picture you running into a tuba. I like it.
Yeah, that was brutal.
That's funny.
So I quit band. I never quit things. Like once I do things,
You're
I go
committed.
for it. I committed. So that was a huge deal for me to stop doing band. I joined the yearbook staff because that was the only way to get out of doing marching and still be in the band.
Okay.
So I ended up joining yearbook staff, and then I ended up falling in love. I had to take all these darkroom classes to be in yearbook. So
Sure.
I spent my whole summer taking photography classes to get into yearbook staff. And that ended up being my passion. So
about that?
thanks to that band director that yelled at me on the field and made me cry.
Thanks to being clumsy and running into tubas.
That too. Realizing what you are not good at.
That's funny.
Yes.
All
So
right.
my image ended up making the cover of the yearbook, and so that's.
What was the image?
It was an image. Actually, it's kind of funny that it looked very candid. It was a picture of 2 of the cheerleaders cheering at the game.
Right.
But it was actually a game that they were losing. And I talked to all the cheerleaders. I said, okay, I want you guys to go out there. I'm going to make a really cool picture of y'all. Go out there and scream like you are just kicking butt out there.
Right. So you were directing it.
I
at an early
directed it
age.
already.
Right on.
So I don't know. Probably people don't know that at the high school that was totally staged. But that's okay.
I imagine this was a big high school. This is
Yes,
Houston.
4,000.
4,000.
Yeah.
So 1,000 in your class?
Yes.
That's a lot of
It
kids.
was a lot of kids.
So there were a lot of photographers. You weren't the only one.
Yeah. Yeah, there were, yearbook staff was quite a lot.
Cool. And then off to TCU.
Yeah, off to TCU, majored in business,
Okay.
entrepreneurship. I went to TCU because they were one of the first schools that had an entrepreneurship program. And so I majored in business and minored in art.
Right on.
Yeah, I would have loved to major in photography, but I realized I need to figure out the business side of things.
You know what? I think that's a lot smarter.
Yeah.
Because truthfully, there are a lot of great photographers that never make it because they can't run a business.
Right.
And if you can't run a business, you're not going to be here in 5 years, 10 years, 20
Right.
years. So that's a
Exactly.
really important skill to have.
Yeah, and if you're not good at business, you can always hire people or start working with people that are good at business. So maybe you guys can collaborate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so if you weren't a business major, it's good to get to know maybe go to business classes just to learn the side of it, and then work with people who are good at business.
Right.
Yeah, so there's always a way.
Right, exactly. And how long were you in London?
I was in London for 3 months.
Okay, so you did a semester abroad.
Yes.
That's so crazy. We actually did the same school.
Yes, that is so weird. I Googled fashion photography study abroad, and there was only one program, and it was through Syracuse.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
they
that's
had the
cool.
only program, and I was the only Southerner in the program. It was all Northerners, so I
Yeah.
had a bigger accent then.
Yeah.
So they got a
little
kick
thicker.
out of that. Yeah.
More y'alls back then?
Yes.
Right on.
Yes.
Yeah, they definitely didn't have that program when I was there.
Huh. Interesting.
In fact, I think my favorite class though was London: A History Through Architecture, which was amazing because we would
That's
just
cool.
cruise around the entire city.
Right? It's beautiful.
Yeah, London is an amazing place.
Stunning city.
Amazing place.
Yeah.
So you come back, you graduate then from TCU.
Mm-hmm.
What happens now? Where are you off to?
So I was assisting a wedding photographer at the time,
Okay.
all throughout college, and I ended up telling him that I needed to focus on building my portfolio. I wasn't passionate about weddings, so I started doing test shoots on the weekend, shooting portraits, paid portraits, all
Okay.
throughout my senior year. I pretty much started my business.
You started your photo business senior year in college.
Yes.
Wow, that's pretty progressive.
Yeah.
Like people don't really do that.
Yeah. I just knew what I wanted to do, and I was like, I was just gonna go for it.
Right on.
Yeah.
So what were your first test shoots like? What were you doing initially?
I was just putting my friends in my clothes and taking pictures of them. I'm just kidding. No, I was putting friends in cool, fashion-y looks.
Right.
Because after I got back from London, I saw the importance of hair, makeup, wardrobe, and I didn't necessarily have the models to work with yet, but it was great because I got to use my friends as practice.
Right.
So I would set up concepts and shoot for little local magazines, like Parker County Today magazine was my first cover.
Nice.
And so
Parker
it was
County
Parker
Today.
County Today.
Is that in Houston or Dallas?
It's in Weatherford, Texas.
Weatherford, Texas.
Yes.
Where's Weatherford?
Weatherford is about an hour outside Fort Worth.
All right.
Yeah. And it was kind of funny because the models wore, I did the styling, hair, makeup, and photography.
That's a lot of
They had
work.
nothing. They didn't have crew. And I didn't have an assistant.
Yeah.
So we got boots from this country store, and they had leather soles. And the models walked around. They were just a bunch of college friends. They walked around on gravel,
Destroyed the boots.
destroyed the boots. And so I ended up getting paid in boots because I destroyed the boots.
I hope they were your size.
They were like, no, they were men's nines.
So you couldn't even do anything. You couldn't wear them yourself.
Nope. But
Huh.
my ex-boyfriend has those now.
It
Anyways.
was a benefit for him, I guess.
Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what do you think was your first real break in photography? When you're starting to put your book together and you're shooting friends, and you're getting away from the wedding photographer that you worked with.
Yeah.
What's the first big break for you?
My first real big break, I would say it's a bunch of baby steps. I ended up working with people on Model Mayhem, and I ended up shooting an agency model on Model Mayhem, and the agency liked the pictures, and so I ended up shooting a bunch of their new faces. A lot of people don't know that you can actually go into an agency and ask if you can shoot their new faces, and if they like their work, you can shoot them for free.
It's a great proving ground
Yes.
for photographers
Yes.
as well as the new faces,
Exactly.
because everybody needs to get seasoned,
Yes.
and that's a prime place to do it.
Exactly.
So how long did you do that?
A couple years.
A couple years.
Yeah. Just
And that's-
building the portfolio.
That's where you feel like you really got your chops.
And at the time, I had to figure out how to also make a living. So I was shooting weddings, portraits, product, and I tried to do like high-end portraits so I could
Yeah.
charge more.
Yeah.
So I would have them send them to the MAC makeup counter and get their makeup done, and I would help them style their wardrobe so I could sort of make it a higher price point than just your normal portraits.
Did that work?
It did work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was charging like $1,500 for a portrait session, and
That's good.
yeah, so making decent money to pay the bills so I could build my fashion portfolio. So
I think it's interesting that you say it took a little bit of time to build this, because I feel like your career has been kind of it's been a meteor ride. It's been fast, I think, in many ways. You are a Nikon ambassador, and I have to imagine you're the youngest Nikon ambassador. How did that whole relationship come about? How did they notice you?
yeah, absolutely. I always had this goal since I graduated to work with Nikon, because I've been such a avid Nikon shooter my entire life.
Right.
So my dad gave me my first Nikon camera, and it's just stuck ever since. So during college, I had a great business teacher tell me that if you're interested in working in a certain industry, join the trade organization associated with that industry. So
Smart advice.
Yeah, so I went home, Googled photography trade organization, and there's a few that popped up: ASMP, APA, WPPI, PPA. So I joined all of the student versions, and sort of would get their emails. And one day I got an email about a contest for WPPI. It was for emerging photographers in college, and so of course I'm a procrastinator. I put together everything, and I FedEx overnighted the portfolio for that contest. It got there, and a couple months go by, and I got a call from the president of WPI, and I won that contest.
Awesome.
So that was cool.
What was the image, or what was the set of images?
It was a portfolio of images that I shot, like personal work I shot during college.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. So the presentation, I think, was a big part of it. I had it put together really well in a nice portfolio and resume and everything. So I ended up winning that, and that sort of allowed me, winning that contest enabled me to go to WPPI for free. So they flew me out to Vegas and attended this whole trade organization and get to see these amazing photographers speak about photography and business and all these things. And I also get to know all of the people in the industry, like the president of Rangefinder magazine, who actually, fast forward 3 years, he introduced me to the marketing director at Nikon. And so that was a really cool connection. The guy at Nikon said, we don't really do sponsorships or anything, but I'll critique your portfolio. So I said, absolutely.
Cool. Yeah.
So I was just super excited to meet someone.
Did you ask him for a sponsorship, or did that just come out of a conversation?
No,
he just said, hey, we don't really do this, but I would love to take a look at your work.
Yes.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, he immediately said that, actually. I was like, that's fine. I'm not like working, I'm not going for that. I just would love to hear your opinion since you work for this camera company as a marketing director. So I brought my book back the next day, and we sat in the lounge and at Nikon, and he sort of looked through my work, and he was sort of saying, oh my gosh, so you shot these images? And I said, yeah, I shot these images. He's like, well, keep me updated. He was really curious, and so I kept him updated through email every 2-3 weeks for about a year. And eventually they hired me to shoot for one of their consumer level cameras, the Nikon S1.
Right.
So they gave me a budget to go out and shoot for this camera for their ad images. And then they ended up hiring me to speak about that at their booth at the different trade shows. So that's how it all started.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So did you feel like you were pestering him at all when because you sent him images on a regular basis, which he asked for.
He asked for it.
Which is cool.
He asked. Had he not asked, I don't know if I would have.
Right.
Because you don't want to pester people.
No, you don't.
I would just say in an email, hey, just keeping you updated on my new work. Here's this shot with this camera.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
What was the first campaign?
The Nikon 1J3.
What was the subject matter? Like who did you shoot?
Yes, for the first campaign it was all lifestyle. All lifestyle images. We shot there was a lot of action shots because I wanted to showcase the capabilities of the camera that could capture like fast motion, like a few frames per second. But this small mirrorless camera could capture that. So we did biking, we did skating, lots of action stuff.
So they really and truly are a client.
Yes.
And they'll come to you and they give you a budget and say, I want you to feature this new camera. Mm-hmm. And are you in charge of all the creative?
Yes.
Like you come up with everything. You have this dollar amount?
Well, they give me a budget, and then they give me what ethnicities, talent, and age group they're looking for.
Okay, so they give you the demographic.
Yes, they give me the demographic. They gave me the number of shots, the
Spider monkey.
They give me what they're looking for, basically, and then I go out and create it in my own style.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What a unique opportunity.
Yes. It's very neat.
How often are you shooting for them?
Very often, actually.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Look how cute he is.
Oh.
Oh, he wants to take it all. He doesn't know how. It's okay, buddy. Have as much as you want.
Oh, he's so hungry. Oh. 'Cause- 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 That's amazing.
I know, it's incredible. Honestly, this has been one of the most
This is
unique trips
amazing.
and unique
Oh,
experiences.
good job.
Wow.
Wow. That was awesome.
You know, the interview has always been one of my favorite parts of the tutorial because it's just great to sit and talk with people.
Yeah.
Having spider monkeys
Just
come down and take melon off of
takes it to another level.
Basically taking it off the set completely takes it to another level.
Yes.
Unbelievable. I know so many photographers are really curious about the inner workings of being in a relationship with a camera company.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people don't realize that in many ways, it's not a sponsorship, but they are effectively a client.
Yes.
They're actually hiring you to feature their cameras.
Exactly.
So how much information do they give you? Like when you know new cameras are coming out, how much do they share with you? How far in advance? Because I know other people are going to want to know this.
Oh man,
How far in
tough.
advance are you getting your hands on stuff?
Well, you know, sometimes I'm working with gear that's already out. Like
Yeah.
as far as that first campaign, that
Right.
camera had already been released. They needed new images for the ads.
Right.
So, but with the D5 campaign and the D5500 campaign, those hadn't been released yet.
Right.
So that's actually through, when they're releasing a new camera, that's through Nikon Japan and their agency K&L.
Okay.
So they approach me separate from Nikon USA.
Do they get a lot of input from you from all the ambassadors on the quality of the cameras, what you guys want?
Definitely. They have us go through meetings with the Nikon engineers and
Yeah.
talk about the gear and what we need as photographers to keep it all current and so they can really reach consumers and give consumers what they're looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So they're very, I guess the D5 was a few months before the camera released.
That's pretty cool.
So I had to keep, quiet.
I'm sure you have to sign a non-disclosure
Oh,
and
yes.
keep everything nice and quiet.
Yes, they're really,
Sure.
yes.
Don't want the competitors to know what they're up to.
Absolutely.
That's dangerous territory.
It is.
But it's also a real privilege for you.
Yes. Very great.
So obviously Nikon is really and truly a client. Who are the other clients that you work for? Like
I work, it's funny because I call myself a fashion photographer, but honestly I think I'm more commercial photographer because I shoot a range. I shoot beauty, lifestyle, fashion, just anything advertising commercial related
Right.
is my passion. So I shoot for shoe company like Florsheim Shoes,
Right.
beauty companies like macadamia oil, which is a hair oil, Eprivage, a pharmaceutical company called Old Therapy.
Wow, somebody's chattering behind me.
So cute. So I was saying Old Therapy, which is a pharmaceutical company, all kinds of different lifestyle work. There's Aria, you have India, which
Right.
is Woodland Worldwide, which is lifestyle. So really kind of a broad range.
Yeah, and you kind of have clients from all over the world.
Yeah.
I think you and I are also very similar in our client basis in that we do very corporate direct work. A lot of photographers are making images that they want, and a lot of photographers in this day and age are almost strictly social media photographers.
Yeah, that's true.
Which can get you attention, it can get you work, but it's really the corporate jobs.
Yes.
One that's paying and gives you
Yes.
longevity with your career.
Absolutely.
So is that hard for you to work with corporations and have to fit within there? Because I know for me personally, the images aren't really for me. I've got to nail it for the client. There are
Right.
a lot of constraints that corporations put on you.
There are,
Yeah.
absolutely. And wow. That's amazing.
There's so much chatter.
Yes. It's like a chorus out here. So working with corporations, you have to be sure and capture exactly what they're looking for, but with
Right.
every shoot, I try to capture my own style at the end of it. So once I've gotten what they want, I create something that really inspires me at the end.
Right. Here comes that big one. Wow, look at his
Wow.
face. So we were talking about clients and client structures because it's definitely different when you're working directly for corporations. You have to
Yes.
understand the brand messaging. You have to understand exactly what the clients want and then
Exactly.
how to convey that.
Yes.
With lifestyle imagery, how much freedom are they giving you to create the mood and still hit the mark?
You know, it's with clients, you really have to go with what their vision is, but I try to bring my own flavor to it,
Right.
if that makes sense. So I'll capture exactly what they're looking for, and then I put my own spin on it, because
Right.
ultimately, clients are hiring you for your vision.
Absolutely.
Not just their vision. So they want you to put your own creative spin on it, bring something else to the table.
Right.
So I try to do that in my images.
You get to travel quite a bit now.
Yes.
Where are some of the places that you
Yes.
go to work?
Oh gosh, I've been all over. Miami, Puerto Rico, Ibiza, Spain, Barcelona, Cannes, France, LA, New York,
Everywhere.
everywhere.
That's cool.
It's really cool about being a photographer.
Yeah, it's a pretty remarkable career. When
It
you hit the right
is.
beat, it's a pretty
Yes.
remarkable career.
Absolutely.
We were talking earlier, you were talking about your parents, which I know you're really close with them.
Yes.
You're an only?
Yes, I'm an
and
only child.
Really tight with your folks.
Yes.
And your mom was pretty instrumental in helping you get your
absolutely.
business off the ground.
Yes.
Tell me about her role. What was she doing to help you, and what was that relationship like to have your mother working with you?
Absolutely. She is extremely talented at branding and fashion.
Yeah.
And she was actually instrumental. She was actually instrumental in like this hat thing. I love wearing a hat
Yeah.
when I shoot. And she was like, you should, be unique and really express your style. And so I started wearing hats, and
It's kind of your
kind of
signature.
become a thing. Yeah.
I think a monkey just grabbed an apple off the
I
back
think
of my
he
chair.
did. That's
amazing.
amazing. And she did a lot of my portrait retouching starting out. So I helped train her how to retouch, because I was so busy when I was shooting weddings and there was so much volume.
Really?
Yes. So she was doing a lot of my retouching. And
Why did you choose to work with your mother when she didn't know retouching versus going to a retoucher?
Well, I didn't have a budget for a really
yeah.
experienced retoucher, so she worked very minimally.
Cool
Yeah.
mom.
Yeah, totally cool mom.
Way to
She's
help
awesome.
you out. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she's really talented at that.
Awesome. Does she still work with you?
She's great at idea generation, really great. So we'll collaborate on different things with ideas, and also just certain select projects and things.
Right.
So she's super talented.
Awesome.
Yeah.
One of the things that you and I were talking about earlier when we were on the set, the process of creating images, it's completely different to work in the corporate structure where you're creating a set of images for a corporation
Yes.
versus doing them on your own.
Yes.
Creating images on your own is hard when you're the
Yes.
client.
It is.
What's that process like for you?
Meaning when I'm creating personal work?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really tough. Very indecisive,
Yeah.
because you're trying to really express your own vision and create new, interesting, unique work.
Right.
So it's hard to make up your mind. It's hard for me because I have so many concepts I want to shoot. Like personally, it's hard for me to make up my mind on which ones to shoot. So, hello.
Look, quite honestly, this whole experience has been really amazing.
It
This has been one of the most
has.
amazing trips I've ever been on in my life.
Me too. I
Coming-
mean, it's just an incredible experience. The landscape here is just insane. The models are stunning. It's just been such a dream.
Yeah, I think this place has really had a lot to offer all of us.
Yes.
From your point of view as the art director on this, as the image creator, what has Brazil offered you that you couldn't get in Dallas or in LA or anywhere in the States? Like what has this production brought to you?
Absolutely. I think just being able to shoot so much volume of different imagery all in a week is,
Yeah.
I mean, it would take me 6 months to do this amount of test shoots in 1 week.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of production work, figuring out the concepts, the hair and makeup, and it was almost like we did a different shoot 3 times a day or twice a day. It was a really unique opportunity.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty incredible. I think
Yeah.
that you are going to have a completely new portfolio.
Yeah.
Of it. I think that the landscape here is so unique
Beautiful.
that it's really going to bring something special to your images.
Yes, and the models have a really international look about them.
They do.
They don't look like they're from New York, LA, Dallas. They
No.
look very exotic, and I would come back here in a heartbeat
Yeah.
to do shoot a production. So
Let's talk about the crew too, because we had an amazing crew.
yes.
Oh my God, his face was so
That was
cute. I looked at him and
awesome.
saw this little face stuffed with bread. Unbelievable.
So
I can't wait for my
cool.
kids to view this. This is going to be fabulous. Let's talk about the crew.
Yes.
Crew is so important.
Yes, it's everything.
I imagine you have a pretty regular crew. I mean, obviously we met Eric on this, who
Yes.
is an amazing dude.
He is
and who is
amazing.
really your right hand. Tell me about the rest of your crew that you work with on a regular basis.
Yeah, absolutely. I have an incredible producer,
Yeah.
Nancy. She took me a few years to find someone that she is just on it. I mean, she makes things happen so quickly. And like a lot of times I've worked with people before that a client would ask for something and be like, no, we can't do that. And they'd sort of just weren't like, I am a can-do personality. If a client wants something and they have a budget for it, we're gonna freaking make it happen.
Right.
And Nancy has that mentality that I do
Right.
too. So I love working with her, and I only surround myself with really positive, enthusiastic people.
You are one of the most positive and upbeat people I've ever met,
Yay.
which is great. I'm pretty
Good.
much the same way. I feel very
Yes.
much like the glass is always half full.
Absolutely.
I would much rather go through life that way.
Absolutely.
And you definitely bring that upbeat, positive attitude to everything.
Good.
So I think
Yeah.
you're surrounding yourself with people who match you in that sense.
Absolutely, because it took me forever to find this crew. It took me a few years. I worked with tons of different people, and some people would bring drama to the set, and I just can't handle that.
How do you handle that?
I feel like you have to take people aside and really talk with them about it. I mean, I had a makeup artist that was sort of belittling the models before they
Seriously?
before I was supposed to shoot them, and I was like, look, you can't. You either need to keep it positive, or we need to find a different makeup artist, because that's
bad
drains the
behavior.
model's confidence right
Yeah.
before I'm about to shoot them. And then I had a stylist tell one of the models that the models weren't skinny enough or something. I'm like, I can't. I never worked with them again.
Yeah, that's bad.
Can't do that.
That's
You got to
really bad.
keep it positive, and everything can be switched around to a positive. Things happen, organically.
Like our getting washed out.
Yes, exactly.
We saw it as an opportunity to make some changes. We fine-tuned things and came back and got some amazing images.
Exactly.
I think our makeup artist was unreal.
Insane.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Amazing
I was trying to
talent.
say unbelievable and insane, and it came out like.
That's okay. It's good to make up a word every
Yeah,
once in a
that's
while because we
okay.
need to.
Yeah.
Absolutely need to.
So, yeah, she was incredible. I really work hard when I travel and I'm not able to use a similar crew. I try to find people, like I search on Facebook, Google, all these things to find the right person for the job. I don't just let a producer handle it. I really like to be in a part of every part of the production, because it enables me to create the images I'm looking for.
You're big into research.
Yes.
It surprised me, quite frankly. You're really into researching.
Yes.
Is it a control issue for you? You feel like you got to control every aspect, or why?
Well, I feel like
where did you develop that? Did that happen right in college, or?
I think that's my nature, and I like to be over prepared so I can relax the day of the shoot and just be and let things happen.
Right.
So the being a little bit control freak in the production stage allows me to be open to moments of serendipity the day of the shoot. Like people walking around with surfboards. Oh, we can use that surfboard. Not being so freaking out that I'm relaxed, because I know the production's put together.
Right. I think you surround yourself with good people too that are looking out. Like Eric is looking out for your lighting and all the technical stuff. You can focus on what you want to focus on, which is
Exactly.
the composition.
Exactly.
Getting the model to move, the composition, really making it flow.
And I end up getting a lot more, because for 5 years or so, I was doing all my own lighting, everything. So I have a really good handle on lighting and technical. I'm not an overly technical person, but I do know it. And so it enables me to help direct and collaborate with people that are even more skilled than I am.
Right. And I think that's an important thing for people to realize. You don't have to have every skill set.
No.
Play up your strengths, and if you're not that technical,
Yeah.
learn what you need to learn, and also surround yourself with the people that are going to take care of that for you.
Exactly. Because it took me a while where I had a budget where I could hire a really great assistant.
Yeah.
So it's good to get there.
It does take a little while to get there.
Yes.
What do you think is your most favorite image to date that you have ever captured?
I would have to say It was an image that I shot when I was working for that reality TV show.
Yeah.
For Get Out. That's when I got to travel. That was a couple years out of school. I booked that gig.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because we
Okay.
really haven't talked about that period at all.
Yeah.
And this was a major, major break for you.
Yes, that was a huge break.
Right.
So I had a portfolio
Yeah.
from after college and setting up test shoots and things. It was all personal work. So I had a really nice book, and it so happened that a video producer was looking for a photographer, and I knew an editor that was editing for the TV show, a few TV shows for this producer, and she knew he was looking for a photographer, and she immediately thought of me and said, hey, you guys should meet and see if it's a good fit. And he looked through my book and really liked the work in there, and he hired me to shoot for a TV show called Doheny Models, which was in LA. It was another model reality TV show.
Okay.
It's really funny. I'd never worked with reality or anything. It was really
What was it like?
interesting. I liked it. It was
Was
a
it
blast.
scripted?
Not really.
Really?
Yeah, not really.
It was pretty real then.
I wouldn't say it was real, but it was not. I mean, they set up the situations and just sort of let things happen, but I got to be the photographer. So I got to test shoot all the models on the show, and I was on the show as well. So then that evening we went to dinner. I said, this is a blast. If you have any other shows that you need photographers for your advertising, let me know. And he said, well, actually, we could use you in Miami next week for the show Get Out. So I ended up shooting for that TV show, and then they kept me on the show for 4 years.
4 years?
Yeah.
Great run.
21 seasons.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot.
That's a lot of work.
Yes.
So that had you rolling around all over the place too.
Yes.
Where'd you get to
That
go
was
with
fun.
that?
All over. We shot, it was funny, to keep the budget low, we shot a lot in Miami.
Yeah.
And then they would have their main host travel to all the exotic locations, and they would stage the photo shoots like they were in these other locations. So we shot a lot of them in Miami, but we also went to Puerto Rico, Ibiza, Spain.
That's pretty scripted. That's pretty fake.
Yeah,
real
it is
TV.
pretty fake. I guess scripted, I'm thinking like a script, like a
Right.
set out script. But yeah, it was pretty,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was, that's why I started shooting swimsuit models. I never thought I would love doing that, but really enjoyed it.
Pays to be
So,
open.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Open to adventure.
All right. So what was your favorite image? It came from that
sorry.
shoot.
So it was an image shot in Canada,
Yeah.
in Toronto. A French model her name was Genevieve, and she just had something about her that I really loved, and she was very down to earth, and we created this amazing set of images. It was really cloudy out that day. It was freezing. We had her in the water at this Scarborough Bluffs,
Cool.
and she had like wet hair, and she's sitting on this rock, and it just looks so serene. I think that's one of my favorites.
If you could redo your favorite image, what would you do to make it better?
Oh, I would do a slightly different composition. I was really tight, and the
Yeah.
location was amazing. I think I would get more wide-angle shots. But I only had like 5 minutes to shoot each model, so I was really
That's
stuck
fast.
on time.
But that's great training.
Yes, so true.
I mean, that I would imagine really pushed your eye fast,
Mm-hmm.
make decisions fast, which is, I think, is kind of interesting that you say in personal work you're a little bit indecisive.
Yes.
But you really had this proving ground that made you had to make quick decisions in order to shoot. 5 minutes with a model is
It's
nothing.
nothing, yeah. Because they had to do video and stills of
Yeah.
each girl, so it was good.
Are you surprised you are where you are with your career?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm just grateful.
Yeah,
I
good.
feel like I walk around just grateful.
That's good.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go with it?
Um,
It's a hard question. Like, where do you go? Like, what do you want? What do you, if you're going to put stuff out in the universe, like you want to work for Nikon, like, where do you want to go with
yeah.
this career of yours?
So I've written down Victoria's Secret, Sports Illustrated on my dream client list. Hopefully I'll be shooting for them soon.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
I had a good meeting.
Oh, you've met
really
with
well.
them. Good.
So
I'm
hopefully,
sure it'll happen.
I hope so.
That would be
I would be
amazing.
really excited.
I'd be
Jumping
excited.
up and down inside.
I'd be excited for you. You have to call us and let us know.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. What were some of your favorite images here in this tutorial? Because you got a lot of portfolio work out of this, a ton of it.
Absolutely. I really loved, gosh, when I was looking over at the Ford models page,
Yeah.
this one girl really stood out to me a lot. Natalie.
Yeah,
She looks like she's a supermodel,
yeah,
and she was incredible. That was during the editorial shoot.
Yeah, in
so
front of the
very
boats and stuff.
ethereal. There's just some quality about her mood and the background that just really came together.
Yeah, those shots are amazing. She's definitely something else.
Incredible.
Now that you've had a chance to experience putting this tutorial together, what do you want people to take away from it? Like, what are your hopes that people are going to learn from seeing your process, seeing your work, and just kind of seeing how you handle things?
Absolutely. I think what I want people to really take away from this is that you can do it, that you can really, like, if you have something that you're going for, an image you're going for, you can make it happen. It's just going to be a lot of hard work, but it is possible. Like, I didn't even know lighting when I graduated college, but I've sort of forced myself to learn about strobes and all these different types of light sources, and there's always a way. There's always a way to create it, and I don't know all the answers. I've only been doing this about 6 or 7 years, so I'm not been doing this 20 years, so I'm still learning a lot too, and I think people hopefully can relate to that and sort of, you know, create a framework. Like, they can make some amazing stuff and just start from what they have. Like, you don't have to have all the best gear when you're starting out.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah,
like the D5500, we created some amazing images, beauty images of him with that camera, and I'll use those in my portfolio.
Right.
So I think.
And the same with that little point and shoot mirrorless. I mean, you got a couple portfolio shots of him in the water.
Absolutely.
Not expensive gear.
Yes, not expensive gear. I started out with one lens and one camera, and as I've grown my business and made money from certain jobs, I'm always investing it back in the business to buy gear, and I always rent gear a lot. You can always rent. Keep your overhead low. Don't spend a ton of money starting out on all the best equipment because you don't need it yet.
Right.
I think that's the main thing. I just want people to know that photography is approachable, and that now is like better time than ever to try to do something in photography.
So other than watching you randomly whistle at times during this tutorial, what are we going to show our viewers? I think we put together a pretty amazing tutorial.
Yes.
With you, covering a lot of different things. Give me a little rundown of what the viewer is going to expect to see out of this.
Okay, absolutely. The viewer will hopefully take in how I work with a crew, how I get together, hair, makeup, wardrobe, where I find these people, how I art direct all of these people and working with the team, and how I work on set, I think is really huge. And just learning how these productions happen, because when I was starting out, I never knew how a production happened. I didn't know that there was so many people involved in the creation of these images. So I think hopefully they'll take home that, and also a ton of lighting tips, how I work with lighting and create this natural look, and how to utilize all different aspects of photography, camera settings, posing, so many different things.
Yeah, I think there's a lot in it. I mean, we're truly covering you as a lifestyle photographer.
Yeah.
But we're showing editorial, you know, the telling of a story, kind of how it comes about and where it leads.
Yes.
We're doing swimwear, which is also very lifestyle oriented. There's just a wide range of different types of shots, and I think that they will see the way that you work in your workflow with that crew, because it's so incredibly important.
Yeah.
We've also shown them something a little different this time, where you and I sit down and kind of call together, where we look through the images and talk about them and see what we like and what we don't like.
What works and doesn't work.
Yeah, and it's really cool to go back and do that, where you have an opportunity to look and see where the composition is really strong and where it's weak. And it's a great opportunity to kind of study models and the way they move and the way they pose. I think
absolutely.
I think that's going to be one of the important things that people take away from this.
Yeah, and just for people to know that I don't instantly go out there and create an epic image. Like, it's a process.
It is a process.
And I think as a creative, you kind of can let it evolve and let yourself experiment until you get a really amazing image. Like, not every frame that I shoot's awesome. I shoot some really crappy images.
Yeah.
And until you get some amazing ones, and that's part of the process. That's part of the beauty of getting those one iconic shot.
Right.
So.
But it's not going to stop at the shot, because we're going to work with Pratik.
Exactly.
To
make them even better.
Yeah, you work with Pratik a lot, right?
I love Pratik.
What's your relationship like with him?
He is incredible. I outsource all of my beauty retouching to him.
Yeah.
And he is just very detailed. He sees things that I don't even think about.
Right.
So he really creates a beautiful finished product for my clients to go and then use that for ads, for editorial, magazines, whatever it is.
He really has a great understanding of what the client needs.
He does.
And he understands not to push images too far, how to really bring them to life.
Exactly.
In fact, we all kind of met at a workshop together a couple years ago. You and Pratik and I were all teaching down there.
It's really neat how that comes together.
Yeah, it's kind of
love
funny.
that.
Now we're all
Yeah.
working together on this project, which is amazing.
Exactly. And you can also, you have to find retouchers that you can trust too, because a lot of things haven't been released yet. You want to make sure people aren't out sharing stuff on Instagram and things, and he's very, you know, careful.
That's a really valid point, and something, particularly when you're doing stuff for Nikon.
Yes.
And I run into that too with product that hasn't been released yet, and I have to sign an NDA.
Yes.
And I have to make sure that
your retoucher does.
Absolutely, because that stuff can't leak. Yeah, it's interesting the different skill sets that you have to find in people. It's not just that they have to be a good retoucher; they have to be trustworthy and professional.
Exactly. That's very true. And actually, the Nikon images, they don't really allow retouching much, especially in Nikon Japan, so you have to shoot in camera, so I don't really outsource those. But
It all comes out of the camera?
Yeah.
Kind of raw?
yeah,
Are they
Raw.
putting curves or anything on it? Wow.
they use the JPEGs out of the camera.
They use the JPEGs?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, because
So-
they want truth in advertising.
Wow. That's a directive.
Yes.
That I would imagine that makes it a lot harder for you.
Yes, it does.
What do you think about then if you're working on images that you know you can't do anything except shoot a JPEG? What's your thought process? How is it different from knowing you can go into retouching?
I think that it makes you more aware of really minute details
Yeah.
and think about the lighting and everything. It just makes you even more anal.
It's one shot.
Yeah, one shot.
Which you don't really do much compositing at all. You you really try to stay away from it as much as you
do.
can do in camera. You do in camera. Your retouching then I would imagine consists mainly of just kind of curves and color and skin.
Curves, color. Exactly.
Yeah.
In black and white, if we want black and white.
How much of your images do you create in black and white? Quite a few. I mean,
Quite a few.
Yeah, your portfolio is pretty loaded with them.
I love black and whites because I feel like you get more to the soul of the person, and it creates this beautiful classic feel.
Yeah, it's definitely classic. Well, this has been an amazing week.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Are you kidding? Thank
I'm
you. We loved
so
it.
excited.
We've enjoyed so much working with you, and I can't wait for everybody to have an opportunity to look at this tutorial, because I think they're going to be absolutely amazed by the work you create and the way in which you work the camera and the crew and the entire thing.
Yay. So excited. I'm excited to start editing.
Yeah.
Yes.
You got a lot of work ahead of you.
Yes, you guys have been so incredible to work with. Your
Good.
whole crew has just been a blast.
We're a little
So
bonkers,
thank
but
you.
thank you. Oh, you're
That's
welcome.
good. That's a good quality.
Glad you like working with us.
Yes.
For more information on the Dixie Dixon tutorial, please go to rggedu.com.